Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel and brand new video. So guys, today we are diving into a week that has truly shaken the pillars of American economy, from sweeping new tariffs to a faltering job market and yes, even a sudden high profile firing. This has been one of the most chaotic economic stretches in recent memory. And whether you support former President Trump or not, one thing is clear. The Trump economy, as his team proudly calls it, is now in full effect and it's sparking both record profits and a growing fears of a recession. So, guys, let's break down what just happened, why it really matters for everyday Americans, and what might be coming next. So, guys, let's have some background. For months, economists described the US economy as relatively strong. Inflation was cooling down, growth was modest but steady, and unemployment was low. But things were always a bit more fragile than they appeared. President Trump returned to office with a promise to supercharge the economy through the bold moves, which are higher tariffs, tighter immigration rules, aggressive deregulation, and another round of tax cuts. That agenda has now collided head on with the real world. The week began with the optimism. Trade talks were progressing. A major deal with the European Union was signed in Scotland, locking in a 15% tariff rate. And then negotiations with the China kicked off in Sweden through no agreement was reached. That alone injected some uncertainty into the markets. But then it all unraveled. Now, guys, let's look at the economic earthquake perspective. By midweek, trouble was clearly brewing. UPS, one of the world's biggest shipping companies, refused to issue a financial forecast, citing too much instability from tariffs and global trade tensions. Their stock plummeted, and investors took a note of this. Next came the Commerce Department's GDP report. On paper, it looked like good 3% growth, but under the surface, business investments were slowing and the inflation was picking back up. That gave the Federal Reserve just enough cover to not cut interest rates, which President Trump had been demanding for weeks. Trump lashed out at Fed Chair Jerome Powell, accusing him of not understanding the new economy. And also, two Federation members, both Trump appointees, even dissented from the majority decision, marking the first split vote in decades. And while Wall Street briefly celebrated big earnings from tech giants like Microsoft and Meta, those gains were wiped out within hours after Trump dropped another bombshell, a new wave of tariffs. This time, he is targeting allies, including Canada and Taiwan. The new effective tariff rate over 15%. And then came Friday. So, guys, now let's look at the job numbers and the fallout. The July jobs report landed like a thunderclap. Just 73,000 jobs were added last month, way below the expectations. Even more concerning, the data revealed that job growth in May and June had been widely overestimated. And when you strip out of the gains in healthcare, the rest of the economy had actually lost the jobs. For the average Americans, it meant fewer opportunities, more layoffs, and creeping insecurity about what's next. The unemployment rate stayed at 4.2%, but that number hides something deeper. A shrinking labor force, largely due to Trump's strict immigration policies. With fewer foreign born workers, the labor pool is tightening, and that's artificially holding the jobless rate down. The White House spun it as a win, saying native born employment is rising. But economists saw this as a red flag. And then, in a move that stunned even seasoned political analysts, President Trump announced he was firing the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. His reasoning: the legacy manipulated jobs data before the 2024 election, an unproven accusation. So, guys, this is not just a personal issue. The BLS is a non partition, decades old institution. Firing its leader because of unfavorable numbers raises alarms about the political interference in neutral data, something more commonly seen in authoritarian regimes than democratic ones. So, guys, what happens next? So, where does this all leave us? So here is my genuine perspective on this. The US may be on the edge of a recession. Consumer prices are climbing again. Businesses are pulling back on investments. And trade uncertainty is rattling markets. And now the integrity of America's economic data is being called into question. And while Trump's supporters argue that this America First agenda is just beginning to bear fruit, especially in AI and tech, others warn that we are building prosperity on an increasingly shaky foundation. The sudden resignation of a key Fed board member, another Biden era appointee, only adds to the storm. Trump now has an even greater hand in shaping economic policy, but the whether that leads to stability or more turbulence remains to be seen. So, guys, what should you take away from all of this? Well, if you are a consumer, expect the higher prices, especially on the imported goods. If you are a worker, it's time to stay alert because the job market may no longer be as secure as it seemed just a month ago. And if you are watching this from abroad, buckle up because the ripple effects of these decisions won't stop at America's borders. It may affect other countries as well. What we are seeing isn't just as a wild week, it's a beginning of a new chapter in American economic policy, one filled with bold moves, deep divisions, and massive consequences. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, insightful, or just eye opening, give it a like and share with someone who needs to understand what's really going on. And as always, subscribe for more deep dives on the headlines that matter most. Until next time, stay informed, stay sharp, and I will see you guys in the next video.